Well, we all have, so I wouldn't say something insulting about my kids' generation because they're all Gen Z. So I love my Gen Z kids. So I wouldn't knock them for that. They couldn't help when they were born.
Older generations create problems that younger generations have to solve.
Speaking for at least myself and a lot of my close friends, I feel as though there have been a lot of issues that we've had to kind of take on, such as the environment, such as a lot of wars that we had nothing to do with, yet we have to end up with the repercussions.
No, I would agree. And I do think that's sort of true of every generation. You have to deal with the world that your parents gave you. When my children were born, there were no cell phones. My daughter was born in 2001. And just in the 18 years, 19 years almost, that she's been alive, the whole world has changed radically. And it's been scary for us as parents because my generation technically gave that to your generation. And it has changed not only your generation, but ours too, in terms of the time that we have for each other. Everybody's sitting around doing this, when you're all sitting in a room together, and that's us too. If there were anything I wish we could dial back a little bit, it would be that.
Although older generations may have created those problems, I don't think they did it on purpose. Hindsight is 20/20, so once you see the effects of what you've done, I don't necessarily think it's just the younger generations cleaning up the problems. I do believe that the older generations offer support as well.
I think historically, there are issues that are inherent in each generation. Because there are certain things, there'll always be war and there'll always be poverty, but it doesn't necessarily mean that a generation created it and another generation is going to come and solve it, because I don't believe it will ever be solved in essence. It will be something that's perpetrated and ongoing.
It's always going to be this way. My parents left problems for us to solve. We're going to leave problems for you to solve. I think it comes down to, what do we do about it? Because it takes a lot of leadership to go, I don't think what I've been doing or been a part of has been very helpful, but I want to try to earn the right to help fix it.
I trust the values of the other generation.
I cannot say that. No.
I do, just as much as I may question some of the values that they're talking about. One of the things that personally bothers me is we've allowed communism to become an acceptable thought process in this country to govern us, which also tells me we haven't done our job. But yet, when you look at why is it brought up, it's because people feel enormously frustrated, and we need to address the people in our age bracket. Why are they frustrated, and how do we change some of that?
They grew up in a different world than we did.
Yes.
When I got out of college, I got a job, I got an apartment, I was able to live by myself, and you could do that then. The world that our children are coming into, it's not nearly as easy to do because of the price of housing, because of the sort of wages they can get. There aren't companies that you can go enter now at 21 or 2 and know that you're going to work for 40 years for that company.
When I grew up, I knew what my beliefs and my values were going to be because my mother passed down the same ones that my grandmother had. I passed down the same ones to my son. Now, I think somewhere in between the generations, between you all and us, things have changed. We've stopped talking, we've stopped saying what we value. I don't trust the younger generation in terms of values because I don't even think they know what it is that they value. Do you value another person's life? I tell my son, oh my God, one of the worst things can happen to me is someone in this generation would have to take care of me. They don't understand me. They don't know anything about me.
That goes to the prompt, which is, do you trust the other side's values? And I think of the values that you may have grown up with in terms of what you were taught about being homosexual and whatnot. 'Cause I grew up queer in a Black family. That's a whole different dynamic, and what they were taught that was brought down to them intergenerationally has been homophobia. And It's like that's what I think of when I think of values of my elders, and I can't trust it because in terms of policy, it was your generation that got it wrong so many times and that had put LGBTQ people into a second-class status, and we're trying to get that back as our generation.
I'm not really even sure what like the values of baby boomers are, like what they would agree on are, but I do appreciate all the work that has been done for us by that generation, like civil rights, women's rights, like LGBT rights. I was born with all those rights, but it was really the people that were, a lot of them baby boomers, in those protests that got us where we are today.
I was a young gay boy and couldn't even say the word until I was in my 20s. It was the most horrible thing you could imagine growing up to be. I couldn't talk to anybody about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gay and there's so much progress that has been made, but there's still so much to be made. When I think of values of like baby boomers, the first thing that I think of is kind of just the whole like hard work gets you pretty much anywhere mindset. And I just feel like that's so toxic because there are so many other barriers that a lot of people don't talk about. Like if you're poor, if you have like kids, if you don't have opportunities for education, like those three just alone will inhibit your success.
Well, I think that was true when we were young. Hard work did get you very far. My husband worked in a company which he started in his 20s and worked there for many years. It was just an established company with a retirement plan and all this sort of thing. And those don't exist anymore. Your generation doesn't have those guarantees.
And I think that is why you're seeing such a large-scale rejection of capitalism. And I don't think it's communism. I think what our generation is exploring now is socialism, which is not the same as communism. You guys inherited a union economy that worked for working people. We are inheriting a gig economy for subcontractors that only works for the rich and powerful. What our generation is exploring is democratizing the workplace and social justice, things like that, that are really for the people, which is at the core of what socialism is. We are growing up in a different country than you guys are growing up in, and we are looking for alternatives because we know this is not sustainable.
I believe my generation will leave the world a better place.
I hope you do.
Me too.
I plan on fighting to do our part, that when I part, that you've inherited things that have improved, and then I hope when you leave the earth, you've made it even better and handy, because if we don't, game over. And that may be a dramatic term, but I tell people, my own age, we don't have a choice. Do we leave it better or worse? It's an obligation.
Let me put it this way, you're gonna know we were here. We laid a foundation for you all to come and do bigger, greater things. Civil rights, women's rights, boycotts. We fought for everything. And we're still working. We're still making changes.
And I think this generation will leave making a better place because of everybody else's work. Like my family always says, like in terms of raising kids, with your parents, you take what you like and you lose what you don't. So I think we have such an advantage with the internet, being able to see what was done wrong generations ago and what we can do now to fix it.
We missed you.
I want to believe that, and I have a lot of hope that we will, and I feel like we have the potential, but knowing what I know about history, a lot of what we're experiencing today are just new renditions of what we've already experienced, and we know that history repeats itself, we just don't know when to call it. And it's oftentimes when we call it, it's too late. Knowing what I know about the environment and what's really going to happen, it's like I can't realistically say that one, I in good conscience would want to bring a new generation into this world, and knowing that it will be a better world for them.
We can't save the world. We can only say, guess what, we were here, we made a change, we attempted to do good, and we attempted to help others and become more diverse. And if we did that, you know what? We did something. Collectively, individually, we made the world a better place.